Welcome, everybody. This is Deb Brown from the Webster City Area Chamber of Commerce. And with us today is the computer guy, Pat Palmer. Hi, Pat.
Hey, how are we doing today?
Good. Let's jump right in. What do you do? Tell us about your business.
Well, this year, as a matter of fact, I am celebrating my 20th anniversary.
Oh, my.
As the computer guy. And I really probably should do something big for it. I don't know what yet, but I need to do something big. So I've not gotten that far yet. But a little history is back in 1990, back when I was in middle school, I had a fascination with computers. In 1979, my dad came home with a TRS-80 from Radio Shack and said, "I bet you $20 you can't put this together." And so he put that together. And then his whole idea for using it at work was he worked at a ready-mix concrete plant. And so what they were having done was, I believe they were failing tests of the consistency and the grade of their concrete. And Weldon's Ready Mix back in the day, from I believe south of the Mason City exit to north of the pretty much Iowa Fall, well, further south like Ames exit, they did all the approaches, concrete approaches and bridge work. That all came from Weldon's Ready Mix, Iowa Falls, Hampton, and all the locations there. And so anyway, what they were looking for is they were having a problem with concrete setting up. And so anyway, my dad needed a computer program to figure basically the recipe of decent concrete. And so what we did is Dad and I worked with another guy and got us on the right track on how to do computer programming. And we basically made that concrete recipe program. He took the computer out to work, and then eventually the state would just copy off what was in the concrete because it was so accurate. And that's kind of how I got started. And then in 1996 or so, I worked at the radio station, and we partnered with a dial-up internet service called R Connect. No relation to our company, but R Connect. And so, Craig at the radio station says, "Pat, you've been doing a lot of work. We get a fee for selling these, but you're going out and actually doing the work for them, hooking it up. You should get paid." And so I thought, oh. And so one day I was over in Allison, and I knocked on the door, and the little girl, she's probably 8 years old, says, "Mom, the computer guy is here." And that's how that stuck. So a long story. And anyway, that's how the computer guy is here.
Well, congratulations on 20 years. That's a great business.
10 years ago, I worked for a cell phone company. And in 2006, I said, "Take this job and shove it." They were being sold to Alltel anyway, and I knew there was going to be a bunch of garbage going on with that. And I really didn't. The cell phone business had changed so much, so I thought I could do this. And if I didn't get hooked on watching Oprah every afternoon, I would be successful, and I was.
Excellent. So how'd you end up in Webster City?
Well, I was just talking to Karen Mitchell about that this morning. She's the Franklin County Economic Development Director, and we were talking about you. And she said, "Well, how'd you get over there?" I said, I said, I knew that Deb was going over there, and she was recruiting some chamber members, and we talked. And then I said, of course, I'd met Darcy Swan at EntreFest, and she had a light bulb moment about the workspace. I guess the two just meshed, and it's been a great combination. You've opened a lot of doors for me in Webster City, and so has Darcy, and it's just nice to camp out over there. Now I've got people in Webster City that when I'm over there and I don't stop just to check in to see how everything's going, then they're like, "Where were you? You weren't here this week." And it's like, oh, wow. And so people miss me. When I'm at the workspace, I get there probably about 10 o'clock. I leave about 3 o'clock on Fridays. I could go more often if the business was there, and it's getting there. And so anyway, people either treat it like a doctor's office. They come in with their patient, their computer, and I fix them right there. So otherwise, if it's something more elaborate or something more, I bring them back to the shop here, which you can see here. So you can see my fax machine that nobody uses anymore.
I know, it's pretty funny. So you grew up in
Yep,
Hampton, right?
I was born right in. Well, I came home to this house, and people said, "Pat, you've moved around and you came back to your own house. It's 51 years later." I said, "Well, I can get up in the middle of the night, don't have to turn the lights on, and know where the bathroom's at."
So your parents are
Yep,
both
yep, they
gone
are.
now,
Yep.
aren't they?
And this room downstairs was an old laundry room, and it had hanging down from the beams. It had rope where you could hang laundry, and nobody. This was just a concrete floor, and I thought one day, in 2006, after I decided to move back home, I thought this would be an excellent place, and I had it drywalled and all painted the way I wanted it to, and a nice shelf over there, and it's done really nice. It's one of the warmest rooms in the house.
I'm sure with all that energy you kicked off, right?
So,
And, no brothers.
no, they broke the
right?
mold, or none that I know of.
So tell me about your pets.
Excuse me.
You have
You
pets,
bet.
don't
And
you?
Hershey was up here earlier, and Hershey's my cat. He's in a lot of my photos. You'll see I've got Hershey over my shoulder here, and he's kind of my mascot. He's pretty photogenic. Pumpkin, a cat, not so much. Hershey is 14, I think. Pumpkin's 9, I think. So those are my two cats, and Pumpkin Hershey was he was here about 14 years. He got here before Becky did.
And your wife, your lovely wife. So what are a couple of your favorite things you like to do in Webster City?
It's amazing, because I was talking about that again today I think I had a dry run today with Karen. I see a lot of Hampton in Webster City, and I'm gonna say that's a bit of a negative. And here's what I mean: is people in Hampton and people in Webster City who've lived here all of our lives don't know how good we've got it. You walk downtown and, geez, I wish we had a steakhouse. Geez, I wish we had a barbecue joint. These types of things. When if you look hard enough, the local restaurant may do a barbecue night one night a month, or the local restaurant might do a pizza or a taco event, or a taco buffet, or a pasta buffet or something one night a month or 2 nights a month, or depending on the popularity. So you don't just have to have a Jethro's come in to settle into town, when maybe if you just ask your local restaurant, hey, have you ever thought about a pasta buffet or a pasta bar or a taco bar or a breakfast bar once a month? It's one of those things. I do hear a little bit of that in Webster City. I do hear a little bit of that in Hampton. So people in Webster City don't know how good they have it, really. I try and eat at a different place. I'm usually there over the noon hours when I go to Webster City. I either bring the lunch in or I go eat. And I try to eat at a different spot now and then whenever I kind of rotate it around. And I really like all the places in Webster City. I like the hardware store that's got the Basset Hound. And I've tried to hit a lot of stores up and down Main Street too.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you for shopping local. That means a lot. What do you do for
what I do for
fun?
fun? I go meet famous people, and I don't know. I'm a big buff of the New York Yankees, big sports buff. I like to meet those guys, and I like to just go and see how the other half lives, you might say. And I don't know what the obsession is there, but I've certainly met a lot of famous folks, and I guess when you meet somebody like that, I don't know if it elevates yourself or your self-esteem or whatever, but I always feel good after I meet this person or that person. We go to a lot of country music concerts and things like that. I'm probably more of a fan of old time country music rather than the new wave bro country, they call it. I see that Garth is going to be back in Iowa this year, and it's like, well, I met Garth a couple times because I was in radio for about 17 years, and so I just don't need to see Garth again, but I'm glad he's coming. It's good for the economy, if nothing else. And so it's going to be a big time down there in Des Moines. But I really like, I just really like entertainment. And there's more entertainment in Iowa and the Midwest than you really would think. I've got friends of mine that live in New York and around that area that never meet a New York Yankee baseball player. And for the last 20 years, every year, a group in Waterloo called the Pinstripe Faithful have had a baseball card show in the fall, and they bring either one or two New York Yankee baseball players in for the fans to meet. And my buddies are saying, like, my goodness, I've never met that guy before, and you guys made him, you know. And different conferences, especially. I like to go to social media conferences. We're having a big one in Fort Dodge, the Blocker Conference coming up. That's going to be great. They're going to be having one in Mason City in June. I like to go up to Minnesota to the Rockstar Social Media Conference as well. I don't want to go to the conferences that, you know, are costing a ton of money, but I do like to go and be informed on new things in social media.
Excellent. Excellent. So let's get back to business a little bit. Tell me about who your perfect customer would be. What kind of customer?
Here's how the scenario works. A guy is at home, and pretty soon the wife hears slamming on a keyboard, and the keyboard gets slammed, and maybe a word or two gets hollered, and the computer gets turned off, and the guy says, "I can't fix it." And so then the wife is left with the job of getting that fixed. And so that's usually when I get a call. So my target market, you might say, is usually female from maybe 35 years old on up. And, you know, I really think it's neat. I've got more people that are 80 and 85 years old willing to take a shot at using a computer rather than some timid, you know, 60-year-olds that just, And, you know, my mother-in-law, she's a professional hand wringer, and she was just so nervous about that computer. They just didn't know what they were going to do when I gave them a computer, and they've got that even figured out. Now they've won a game of solitaire, actually.
Excellent.
Our target market is female 35 to 60. What?
Female 35 to 60. And what's the best way to reach you for your business?
You know, right, really, I've got a ton of phone numbers. I should probably narrow those down, but I've got one that kind of settles in with the area over there. I don't have a local Webster City number. It's more local Clarion. But, you know, anymore with everybody has a cell phone, everybody's number is local. My direct number, if you want to just call me direct or text me directly, it is 641-420-1234. It's the easiest number in North Iowa. Easiest phone number in North Iowa, 641-420-1234.
Excellent. And any business news you'd like to share with us?
I've run into this in Webster City, and it's just a terrible thing. And friends of mine over in Dumont got hit with it too at a business. Is when you get your emails and they trickle in, and you may see, and this happens to businesses a lot because if they're not keeping track of invoices or their emails or whatnot, they may get an email that says invoice is due. And they think, okay, well, I've been doing business here, and I'll click that invoice is due button. They open it up, and boom, they get hit with a bad virus. And that's what I've seen lately a lot. And it's the ransomware virus, where they're going to need $700 to give you your files back because it encrypts all the files. I've been working with a couple different companies on this as far as what blocks it. And once I get an absolute, positively 100% block on this, it's called Crypto Locker or ransomware, then I will offer that as an invoice or as a service, virus protection service. This Crypto Locker comes around a lot of different virus blockers. I know that's the bad part about it. You recommend one, you do your best recommending them, and then they get a virus and they say, you did not give me the right antivirus. And so then they're all upset, and you think, well, but you know, the best antivirus I have found is what I call the distance between your index finger and your mouse. That will never get, if you hold your finger here, that email would never get clicked. And so, like I said, too many people are too eager to click. And I see that on Facebook a lot when people's accounts get hacked, and And so anyway, I do see a lot of that where accounts get hacked and then some stupid stuff gets posted, or I see constant surveys from folks and they said, well, we didn't post that. Well, you're allowing Facebook's third party to do that. So again, you may see an email from the IRS this time of year. They don't have your email address. You may see an email from the post office. They don't have your email address. FedEx, UPS, the rest of the delivery services, they don't have your email address. So if you see something like that, and it's usually what's in the form of a zip file, ZIP file, but it could be any of them. And boy, just don't click on those. If you don't think you've done business with them, especially the mail services and the IRS, just delete it. If it's that important, they'll call you or re-email you or something like that.
Okay. Well, excellent, Pat. Thank you for your time today.
You bet.
It's been great chatting with you. And again, your phone number to reach you?
You bet. 641-420-1234. You can text me. That works. Then I can get it when I'm driving. And then you can also Facebook me. Just send me a Facebook message. That works too. Be a friend of Pat the Computer Guy, just at facebook.com/Pat the Computer Guy. I would really like to hear from a few more friends in Webster City and join my Facebook page so we can stay in contact. I put out some tips and tricks and helpful ideas for the folks on my Facebook page. So it'll be worth it if they sign up for that.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you on
You bet.
Friday. Take care, Pat. Bye-bye.